Christian before, but it's because of the fact that I think I knew that God existed, and I would turn to Him when I was like stressed out or like was nervous for something, but I never really knew God, and I didn't know that I didn't know God, so I never really went searching for more. So I guess my life back then was always filled with anxiety and just really revolving around sin. I was in high school, or I guess middle school, and reputation was everything for me. I tried my hardest to have a good one, but good not in the sense that would glorify God, but one that basically would just give me the acceptance of my peers. And I feel like I was always searching for happiness, but always searching in other people, so I really relied on other people to make me happy. And I guess this desperation really just left me lonely and empty a lot instead. So around the end of my sophomore year, and I'm a junior right now, I found this book that my brother had left at home, and it was titled The Power of a Praying Teen. And I started reading the book, and a few chapters in, I just began to realize that I didn't know this God that the author was talking about. I had heard what she was saying like so many times in church before, but I never really knew like the true mercy and love of our God. So I just remember one night lying in bed after reading the book, a few chapters of the book, and I just kind of completely broke down and started crying and crying and crying. And I just felt this overwhelming sense of shame just dawn on me, and I realized how covered in sin, like this life that I was living was. So I just remember thinking and asking, like, why, Jesus, would you ever leave your throne to die for someone just really as unworthy as me? And so I guess the answer to that question is that there is none other than the fact that the love of our God is just so reckless and great. And so I didn't really realize what this sorrow that I was feeling was, because I never really experienced it before. But I was reading my Bible the other day, and I came across this passage that says, it's in 2 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 10, and it says, "Godly sorrow brings repentance that leads to salvation and leaves no regret, but worldly sorrow brings death. See what this godly sorrow has produced in you, what earnestness, what eagerness to clear yourself, what indignation, what alarm, what longing, what concern, what readiness to see justice done." So I think after this moment of sorrow, God really planted in me this desire to live a life that would glorify Him and one that grows in Him every day. And so I know we sang a song in church a couple weeks ago, and it's called "All I Have Is Christ." And in it, there's a phrase or a verse that goes, "And if you had not loved me first, I would refuse you still." And I just find so much truth in this verse, because I would have never come back to God if He hadn't been just so patient in my ignorance and so loving, even though I said that I didn't want Him, and I just put forward a hardened heart towards Him. Because, I think He wanted me even though I was so unworthy. So I guess in the end, I'm really grateful that God put me on this path of first neglecting Him, because at the end of the day, just realizing how empty and just disappointing life is without God makes this new life with Jesus and living in His love